I was shocked to discover that people travel to various clinics in Germany from South America, from various parts of the United States, Canada, I mean virtually all over the world, and paying between $2,000 and $3,000 cash on the table American for 6 treatments. And then the list of clinical indications were just far-reaching. I mean, they just included almost everything. They have liver disease, peripheral vascular disease, various types of cancer, pain management, migraine, allergies, hepatitis, what else? Eczema, osteomyelitis, all sort of diseases of various types, diabetes. And that's immediately, you know, when you see something like that, you immediately get scared off. And it begins to sound a bit like snake venom oil or something, you know, and you start wondering again. But I thought, well, so here I'm faced with a range of potential clinical applications. A huge number of people are using it. A patient base that's worldwide paying big money for something. There's got to be something in this.
I paid my own way just to go to Germany because I couldn't believe that these things could really be true, you know. Even though I'd been reading all this literature and stuff, I couldn't believe it. But once you go there and you see in his clinic and you see all these patients who've been coming for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years and told that they were going to have their leg amputated, you know, 10 years ago, and here they are perfectly hale and hearty, or people who've had herpes zoster or hepatitis or something and been treated and said that, you know, they'd had this disease for years and now that they're so much better.
Dr. Bocci and others investigated the scientific validity of ozone.
We started to study the effect of ozone on white cells, and we found that ozone can stimulate cytokine production, that is production of, for instance, interferon, tumor necrosis factor alpha.
These agents directly attack the causes of disease, such as bacteria, viruses, and carcinogens.
The fact that ozone therapy could be useful in different diseases has a rational basis, because you see, you treat blood. Blood is made of several entities, of several cells, with different functions, and therefore by activating different cells you can treat different pathologies. That's quite reasonable.
We worked on the AIDS virus to try and see how quickly we could inactivate this and at the same time compare it to what effect that had on a healthy white blood cell. And we found that we could produce an enormous inactivation of the virus, reducing it from 1 million virions down to no viruses at all at, say, 4 micrograms of ozone. And twice that dose had no adverse effect on the healthy white blood cell. During that time from 0 to 8 micrograms, that was double the dose that was adversely affecting the virus, you were actually stimulating the white blood cell to be more effective.
I understand until something is approved, it has to go through rigorous medical study. But they won't even look at this. Now, come on, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And as people are dropping dead in the years to come of AIDS, eventually someone is going to say, well, how come these people like Mr. Stephen here, who are using the ozone, aren't getting sick and progressing?
Inadvertently, we discovered that this particular type of therapy has an incredible effect in terms of managing pain. I mean, it has a very potent analgesic effect. And then secondly, we were able to discover that the blood that's ozonized actually triggers off the production of interleukin-2, one of the immune regulators. And definitely, there is no evidence of toxicity. I keep coming back to the analgesic issue because it's profound. You have to experience it for yourself. And once you've done that, then you become the zealot, you know. I mean, that's why there are casualties in the war of science, that you become so convinced that something is right that you're prepared to accept all of the consequences. And some of those consequences can mean the termination of a career. In some cases, you become an outcast to the establishment. So here we were sitting on a very simplistic technology that had promise of literally blowing the lid off of North American medicine, or North American pharmaceutics anyways.
Meanwhile, just down the road from the U.S. Congress at the National Library of Medicine, the database continues to grow. By 2004, PubMed contained 194 references to ozone therapy from major peer-reviewed medical journals around the world. More than 95% of them report improvements and benefits for AIDS, tuberculosis, hepatitis, reduction of infection and pain, and a reduction in mortality. One maverick doctor who lost his license for 5 days over ozone was the famous late diet guru Robert Atkins.
Well, I had an ozone generator, and we used it on all our AIDS patients. We used it on just about all our cancer patients, and we used it on the yeast patients, which really was the largest group. We found that our cancer protocol, which included ozone, was effective and was keeping people with so-called terminal cancer alive, and without ever having to require pain medicine, without losing weight, without any sign of deterioration, because it has been very useful, extremely safe, a wide spectrum of activity, can destroy tumor, can actually allow for a shrinkage of tumor without destroying the immune system, sort of enhances the immune system while it's doing its benefit against the tumor. This is true in AIDS. The FDA saw to it that our manufacturer had to take away the business end of the machine. And then when we lost our ozone machine, the patients began to go downhill.
What do you do when you've got nowhere else to go? You're going to try and find out if there are regulations to restrict you? I think not. You're looking for it's not as if we're out breaking the criminal law. We're looking for a way to get our health back, and I don't think anyone can condemn that. So for me, it was a very important decision to get an ozone machine, and I became involved in a car chase where the bad guy tried to avoid police and crashed his vehicle into a body of water. As a result of that, I entered into the body of water to try and extricate the driver from his vehicle, and during the course of that time became exposed to a substance that's believed to be either chemical or viral, bacterial. I became very sick. I was off work for 3 years. One of the doctor's reports that stated that everything that could have been done for me in the hospital system had been done, and that basically it was a case of going home, and if I got better, then that was a plus, and if I didn't get better, then, well, we've tried everything we can for you. Now, I'm just a regular individual. I like to go to ball games, drink a beer,